Coming up, how a furry friend fits right in with his human community.
Dexter shows us, why aren't you out there writing the book you want to write? Why aren't you out there doing the things you want to do?
Then, how a young boy teaches a lifelong lesson.
It's not just a birthday cake. It's a blessing cake.
Plus, we meet an extremely dedicated high school sports fan.
You're not going to live forever. You're going to miss a game.
Who says?
And finally, the most touching surprise of the year.
Nothing matters if the kids aren't grounded and good.
All of that and more on this special 2022 Year in Review episode of On the Road. Hello, I'm Steve Hartman. Thanks for joining us for our CBS News streaming series, where every month or so, we revisit some of my favorite stories from my 25 years on the road. This year, I got to tell so many stories that I loved, it's nearly impossible to pick favorites. But they only gave me a half hour for this show, so begrudgingly, I have narrowed it down. Up first, the story of an adopted son with a unique tribute to his birth mother. Just outside Salt Lake City, 46-year-old Shauna Austin is about to let you in on a secret.
I've never talked about it, ever.
When Shauna was 20 and single, she got pregnant. Says she wasn't ready to be a mom, so she made the decision to place her baby for adoption. It wasn't easy.
Do you remember holding him the first time?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
What was that like?
He was perfect. And I knew I would have him for a short time. So I made every minute count with him.
She called the boy Riley and says she held him for 72 hours straight until the time came to let go. Her Riley was now somebody else's Stephen. And at this point, like with most closed adoptions, a firewall went up between Shauna and Stephen's new parents. No communication whatsoever. And this went on for about a week.
It was like, okay, this is the way it should be. She is part of our family.
Adoptive parents Jennifer and Chris Schobinger say they had no interest in excluding the birth mother.
You know, you can't have too many people loving you, right? Why couldn't he be both of ours?
So, year after year, they sent Shauna piles of pictures and these bound books detailing Stephen's every major and minor milestone, like this complete list of his vocabulary. All so that when Shauna was ready and Stephen was ready, they could pick up right where they left off. The two reunited when Stephen was 7. Shauna taught him how to fish, and they have been reeling in the memories ever since.
I was blessed beyond words.
I kind of got best of both worlds for sure.
Stephen is now 26, married with a brand new boy of his own, much to the delight of Grandma Shauna.
That was really special. It just brought that full circle around.
Especially when she heard the baby's name. Riley.
Oh.
Felt like that name was just supposed to be in the family.
I think the lesson we've learned is that sometimes we create barriers where barriers don't need to be. And when we pull down those barriers, we really find love on the other side.
Words of wisdom to help us all live the life of Riley.
Oh my gosh, he is so cute.
So much wisdom in that family. After that story first aired, we got a huge response from viewers who said they plan to take that advice to heart this holiday season. Up next, another story about adoption, but the lesson here is more about gratitude. What may look like a house to you is something much more magnificent to the boy inside. What did you think when you saw this place for the first time?
We said it's second heaven.
Second heaven?
Yes. You pass through this before you go to the big heaven. That is what I believe so.
He means that, literally. And why wouldn't he? Abraham and his brother James are from Sierra Leone. They were homeless before finding their way to an orphanage and eventually to their new family outside Charlotte, North Carolina. Oh. Joe and Jamie Walker adopted them last fall, and they say the boys have been wide-eyed with wonder ever since.
It's fun. Every little thing that we take for granted. Coming home from the airport and I hit the button to open our front gate. Dad,
Everything is magic to them. It's magic.
Whether it's a present just showing up on Christmas morning, or something mundane, like a car wash, the kids are constantly blown away. But the biggest surprise, the most profound reaction, happened last month on Abraham's 12th birthday.
You had birthdays before you came here. How did you celebrate them?
That would be a crazy question.
Why is that a crazy question?
I never celebrate them. I never know it was my birthday.
So when the song started and his mom appeared with that glowing tribute, Abraham was overwhelmed.
When I see the cake, I thought that is the most beautifulest thing I've ever seen.
The birthday cake.
It's not just a birthday cake. It's a blessing cake.
A blessing cake. And what a blessing it is that once a year, friends and family gather just to honor our existence. Most of us take that for granted, but not in this house. Not anymore.
Just being reminded that we need to stop and be super grateful for what we do have.
A good wish for America from this American dream come true. After that story aired in July, the Walker family took a trip to Jackson Hole, Wyoming. It was the first time James and Abraham experienced snow and sledding. And what better place for it than Jackson Hole? Perhaps they'll adopt me next. Coming up after the break, we meet a fan for the ages, a guy who wouldn't miss a sports game for the world. Stay with us. Welcome back. In our next story, we meet a 91-year-old man who is dedicated to attending every high school sporting event at Antioch Community High School in Illinois, even if that means overcoming a few obstacles along the way. Take a look.
Fight! Sequence fight! Win!
We came to Antioch Community High School near Chicago to meet the record holder, the undisputed champion of showing up. 91-year-old superfan Steve Young hasn't missed a single Antioch football game since 1946. Not that there haven't been close calls, like the summer he got in a traffic accident in a thunderstorm.
I had 11 broken bones, punctured left lung, and while I was laying on a stretcher, I got hit by lightning, knocked me off the stretcher.
Wait. You got hit by lightning while you're on the stretcher?
On the stretcher. They got me in the hospital, and the one doctor said, he's not going to make it. And I said, you guys don't know what you're talking about. I said, I've got a game to go to.
And sure enough, a few weeks later, he was at the season opener.
But it's not just football. Steve has also been to virtually every basketball game, softball game, and volleyball match. He goes to tennis matches, golf matches, and even bowling tournaments. He is omnipresent at more than 20 sports, plus plays in concerts.
We talked to students and former students across 3 generations.
He was at our games, no matter what.
Rain or shine.
Home or away.
Every single one. He's always there.
For some athletes, it's maybe the only person that they have at the game, so.
Steve says that's true. Kids have told him so.
I've had kids come up and say, my parents never show up for anything.
What's that like to hear?
It kind of hits home.
And it's a big reason why he does it. Recently, as a thank you for his 76 years of love and support, the school made Steve Grand Marshal of the homecoming parade and honored him at a game, where all that cheering he'd done for others finally echoed back. A resounding message that sometimes the most important thing you can do for a child is just be there, no matter what.
Somehow, some way I'd make it.
You know, you're not going to live forever. You're going to miss a game.
Who says?
I stand corrected. Now that football season is over, Steve is on to cheering for the girls and boys basketball teams. Go Steve. Now we go on to a sports fan in Maryland. But what makes this girl unique is that she isn't as much a fan of the players as the announcer. 11-year-old Ellie Dowdy of Amherst, Virginia, eats, sleeps, and talks baseball.
Now up the bat.
She announces for her local junior varsity team and practices big league broadcasting from her living room.
Look at his blocking skills.
But she didn't know girls could do this as a career until she listened to a Baltimore Orioles game.
Now there's 2 outs.
And I thought, I can do that too. That is possible.
Ellie's proof possible is play-by-play announcer Melanie Newman.
How we doing?
Ellie was so taken by her that last year she reached out to Melanie in the only way she knew how.
Oh, that is cute.
Her sign read, "Hey, Melanie Newman, need help in the booth?"
There's Mel.
And the answer was yes.
All right, Ellie, are you ready to call a pitch?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
This week, Melanie invited Ellie to call part of a game
Have a 3-2 count.
because Melanie assumed that's what the girl wanted.
We have a outside ball.
And it was, in part.
But when Ellie held up that sign, she didn't just want to help Melanie in the booth. She wanted to help Melanie as a person.
I was just hoping that she would see it and see that a lot of young girls are looking up to her, because when Melanie was growing up, she had to push through all the people telling her that no, only men can do that.
It's true. And even today, some men are still hurling sexist barbs at Melanie on social media. But there to deflect them, with her single-ply poster board, stands Ellie Dowdy, who returned with a new sign that read, "Melanie Newman is fire." What does that feel like to see that?
It really takes you back for a minute.
And here's where we saw just how much Melanie appreciates the support.
I paid a lot of dues to just get here. And the hope is when those little girls make those signs, their dues are so much less.
In sports, people are always clawing their way to the top.
This is so cool.
But the true heroes of any game are the ones who lift others. Ellie and Melanie still keep in touch. And although baseball season has come to a close, Ellie is still practicing her play-by-play on the basketball court. After the break, we meet a very special dog with 3 legs, which is one more leg than he needs. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We hope you're enjoying our end of the year special, highlighting some of my favorite stories from 2022. Our next story is about a dog. And although I say dog, this character is distinctly human. A lot of dogs think they're human, but Dexter takes it to a whole nother level, to the point where I can now safely say, I have seen everything. Dexter lives here in Ouray, Colorado, where for the past few years, this bicolor, bipedal Brittany Spaniel has been turning heads wherever he goes. Dexter's owner, Kenty Pasick, says this isn't a trick she taught. It's an adaptation he made after a near-death experience.
Hey, come on.
When Dexter was a puppy, he escaped his yard, darted into traffic, and got hit by a car. He lost one front leg and the other was badly damaged. So everyone assumed, to get around, he would need some kind of adaptive equipment. And he did use a wheelchair for a while, until one day when Kenty set the pooch at the foot of her porch without the wheelchair.
And I ran in to go get my cup of coffee, came out, and he was right here where he is right now. And I was like, how is this going on?
How did you figure it out?
I put him back down there and I grabbed my phone to see what was going on.
Here is the video she recorded.
And I was like, oh, we're into something totally different.
You never know where life's gonna take you.
You never know.
In the 6 years since, Dexter has become a full-blown celebrity, starring in parades and building a legion of social media followers, who now come here from across the country, just hoping for a glimpse of Ouray's most upstanding citizen.
Follow him on Instagram. Oh, good.
The whole thing takes absurdity to new heights, but to many, Dexter is no joke. In this pile of mail he receives monthly
It comes in droves.
are hundreds of letters of heartfelt gratitude.
I'm recovering from intensive radiation treatments for breast cancer, and you certainly bring joy to my day.
Where humans see obstacles, often dogs beg to differ.
Dexter shows us, why aren't you out there writing the book you want to write? Why aren't you out there doing the things you want to do? Because he has.
Off he goes.
And in doing so has proven that sometimes getting knocked down is the only way to see how tall you stand. If you'd like to see Dexter in person, I'm told he will be attending the Super Pet Expo in Edison, New Jersey next month. The last story I'm going to share is my personal favorite of 2022. It's about a trip I took to Phoenix, where I got to see firsthand the impact our on-the-road stories are having in the classroom. This week, I made a surprise visit to the Alhambra Traditional School in Phoenix. And although I anticipated a warm welcome, I was completely unprepared.
Hello, class.
For this. I mean, good gosh, it's not like I'm the Rock. I'm a lump. But our connection clearly runs deep. Thanks to Mr. Derek Brown, who for more than a decade has been showing his fifth graders one of my stories every day.
How do you justify it?
If nothing else matters, math, English, reading, writing, nothing matters if the kids aren't grounded and good.
Here you go.
And to that end,
I knew I was going to get a hug.
he says the Americans we meet on the road
Hug, Gabe.
teach character better than he ever could.
It's just to make you like a better person.
And how's it working?
It was working good. It made me more nicer to my little brother.
It made you nicer to your little brother.
Yeah, I mean, I was
I consider my
nice.
career a success.
Yeah, it is a success.
And this isn't just happening in Phoenix. We have learned of other teachers across the country bringing on the road into the classroom. And the schools you see here are just the schools we know about. We estimate there are thousands of others. Which is why, to bring them all together, to share lesson plans and strategies, we have started a Facebook group called Kindness 101 for Teachers. If you know a teacher who might be interested, Mr. Brown says, please tell them about it.
They have to let their kids see this. Kids have to connect to these. My stomach hurts, Mr. Brown. No, it doesn't. You're feeling.
Lights, please.
And when that happens, he says the possibility opens wide for kids to go from watching goodness to emulating it.
I'd like to see them act it out, so then maybe one of my kids could be the topic of one of your stories. That would be the ultimate.
For both of us. So that concludes our special. From our CBS family to yours, we wish you all a happy and healthy new year. And for brand new On the Road stories, don't forget to tune into the CBS Evening News with Nora O'Donnell every Friday. Until then, I'm Steve Hartman. Stay kind.